Today we're going to be talking about 6.1, the polygon angle sum theorems, which is pretty much probably my favorite lesson of the year because I love these equations. Before we get into the equations you need to have memorized, we need to talk about some vocabulary. We've talked about equilateral triangles and equiangular triangles. Well, now we're going to be talking about the same thing, but we're going to be talking about polygons. So equilateral polygon is all the sides are congruent. Equiangular, hence the angular, means all of the angles congruent. And then the really important term here is this term called regular, which means that both equilateral and equiangular. So when something is regular, everything is equal, sides and angles. That's important when we talk about these formulas. Now, here's a little chart that goes over the different names of the polygons determining by the number of sides. You need to have these memorized, 3 through 12. So I copy this chart down because sometimes it doesn't say, oh, this is a six-sided figure. It says this is a hexagon, so you need to know that's a six-sided figure. Any number after 12, we just call an n-gon. For instance, if it's 100 sides, it would be a 100-gon. That would be its name. So anything after 12, you can write the number. But I don't want to ever see you say this is a 7-gon because it actually has a name. You'd get that wrong. It's a heptagon. All right? So here are the formulas. And we provide you with this little chart. Okay? And we read it kind of like a Punnett square that you will see eventually in biology. But we're talking about angles. Okay? And their degrees within inside any number of polygons, even a 100-gon. We can figure out the angle degrees. So first off, the sum of the interior would be this formula here. It's 180 times n minus 2. And for all of these, n means the number of sides. So you have to know this number of sides. So that would be what all of them add up to equal. So for instance, you already know what a triangle is. A triangle is 180. Well, we could use the formula and say 180 times 3 minus 2, in case you forget. Well, 3 minus 2 is 1. That's how we know that the sum of a triangle equals 180. So you can do that with all the different sides. That's the sum of the interior. If you want to just find one interior, okay, which are these two, the formula is as so. 180 times n minus 2, well, that's the sum. But since we only want to find one, we have to divide that by the number of sides or the number of angles. Okay, so technically that's what this formula is, 180 times n minus 2 divided by n. Other keywords you'll see for one are the words and each. So if you see that in a word problem, you're using this formula here. Now, we can talk about exterior. For instance, on the outside of a triangle, this would be the exterior angles. They're connected, okay? Interior and exterior, if you notice, you know that the interior and exterior should always add up to equal 180 because they are on a straight line. You will always see that the sum will be 360. No matter whatever the sides are, they always add up to be 360 degrees. Now, if you want just one exterior, okay, with the chart, then you're taking that 360 and you're dividing it by the number of sides, and that will give you what one exterior angle degree would be, not all of them. So you need to have these formulas memorized. They're really important for the SOL also. They like this section. So let's go ahead and put some numbers into these formulas in practice. Here's the first one. I always tell you to underline the different keywords. So in this it says find the sum. To me that's a keyword. Of the measures of the interior angles of the convex decagon. So those are the three keywords that tell me which formula to use. We're finding the sum of the interior of a decagon. Sum of the interior is the formula n minus 2 times 180. Well, our n, a decagon, will be the 10. So that's what we're plugging in for n. So 10 minus 2 times 180. Okay? Do what's in the parentheses first. You don't need to distribute on this. So 8 times 180 will give you the sum of the interior of a decagon, which you should have gotten as 1440. So that's your final answer. Go ahead and pause and see if you can find the answer to the next one. Find the sum of the interior angles of a 15-gon. All right, so once again, The keywords are sum of the interior and 15. You should have gotten 2,340. All right, moving right along. All right, so first off, we need to figure out, we're trying to find the measure of angle G, so I'm just going to go ahead and put an X there. Well, we have interior angles, but we don't want to find the sum. It's finding one of them. Well, to find one angle in a polygon, n minus 2 divided by, or n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. But we cannot use that formula. The reason being is this is not a regular polygon. Okay? You can only use those formulas for the regular polygon for one, if you're asking for one interior, if it's a regular. But we always know what the sum of this figure is going to be. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, so I know I can find the sum by doing 4 minus 2 times 180. The formula I've used is n minus 2 times 180, the sum. Well, 4 minus 2 is 2, and 2 times 180 gives me 360. So I know that all 4 of these angles need to add up to equal 360, so that's the equation I'm going to set up to solve. So we have 120 plus 85 plus 53 plus x equals the 360. Okay. When you combine all your like terms, you should have gotten 258 plus x equals 360, and then we're going to subtract, so you'll get your angle to be x to equal 102. So that's what this angle G would be 102. All right? So go ahead and see if you can do the second one where they're actually finding the measure of angle y. Remember, you have to first figure out what they should add up to equal since it's not a regular polygon. All right, so let's see if you figured out this problem correctly. Okay, here is the work. Now, you should have gotten y to equal 70, sorry. Okay, my formula here is you add up all of the angles and equal it to 540 because you have 5 minus 2 times 180 will give you the 540. A 5-sided figure is 540 degrees. So hopefully you got that right. All right, moving right along. Now, the one on the left, if you notice, they have exterior angles. So remember, the magic number for exterior is always 360, no matter the number of sides. So what we're going to do is just write our equation, 45 plus 40 plus x plus 77 plus 2x should always equal 360 because they're on the outside. So we're just going to combine like terms, so you should get 3x plus a 162 when you add those all together equals 360. Subtract your 162, so you get 3x equals 198, and then divide by 3, so you get x to equal 66. So that's what this degree would be, and then you could do 2 times 66 if you were actually asked to find, but we're just solving for x. So exterior angles equal 360. Now the second one has the mixture of exterior and interior. Exterior and interior. So remember, these two, the 110, are a linear pair, so we know that they equal 180. So if we subtract 180 and 110, you should get 70 for that interior angle. Now, we're trying to find y, which is the other interior variable that's missing. Okay? Well, this is a 4-sided figure and 4 angles. So we know the sum would be 4 minus 2 times 180, or 360 degrees. So we know that 70 plus 112 plus 88 plus y should equal 360 since it's a 4-sided figure. Okay? When we do the math and you do your algebra, you should get y to equal 90. So that is a right angle up there, and those are the answers to your variables. All right, 2 other word problems that are slightly different. So it says, once again, I'm going to underline key terms. It tells me the sum of the measures of the interior angles is 1260. We're finding the number of sides. So we're actually solving for n this time because they don't give us the number of sides. But they give us enough information that the sum of the interior. Well, that formula is n minus 2 times 180. Sum of the interior. Well, they tell us that the sum is already 1260, so I'm going to equal that to 1260 because that's what our total is. Okay? When you end up solving this equation, You can distribute 180, but I tell you to get rid of the 180 first and divide out. So when you do 1260 divided by 180, you should get 7. Well, that's not the number of sides because you still have n minus 2 on this side equals 7. So you always have to add that 2. Do not forget this. So n should equal 9 and it says classify. That means name it. So the name of this figure is a nonagon. Okay. Go ahead and figure out the second one on your own. Pause. Here is the answer for the second one, the number of sides. This is a hendecagon or a levengon. Sometimes they don't provide you with this, I'm sorry, for the hendecagon, that's new. I will accept either answer, a levengon or hendecagon, okay? All right, so this is another word problem that we want to practice. It says the measure of an exterior, okay, is 18. Find the number of sides. So we're finding that n again. Well, an exterior means one exterior angle. The formula for that is 360 divided by n. Well, once again, they gave me what it equals, so I'm going to say it equals 18. So if you remember when we were solving the trig ratios, if the variable's on the bottom, all you got to do is switch places. So that happens here too. So now we have 360 divided by 18. And you just plug that in and that will be your n. So n in this instance is 20. So that's the number of sides. This is a 20gon. All right, one last problem, which I love. It says how many sides, and we're assuming that that's a regular polygon underneath, it's hidden underneath this green blob or this blanket. Well, they provide us with one interior angle. Okay, so the formula for one interior angle is n minus 2 times 180, and also it's divided by n because it's the 1. Well, that equals 108. And by all means, you can solve that equation. It's just a harder algebra equation. So I'll go ahead and go through the steps, and then I'm going to show you an easier way to do that I do all the time. First off, you got to get rid of the divided by n, so you have to multiply both sides by n. When you do that, you're left with n minus 2 times 180 and 108 n on this side. So we multiplied by n, and all that did was get rid of the divided. Now, the next step would be to distribute the 180. So you get 180n minus 360 equals 108n. Now we have variables on both sides, so I got to subtract out 180n from both sides. Okay, that cancels out. Now I'm left with the negative 360 equals a negative 72n. And then our final step would be to divide both sides by negative 72. Cancel out. Negative over a negative turns positive. Okay, so we get a 5 is equal to n. That means that's a 5-sided figure underneath that little green blob. Well, that's a lot of algebra work. Here's a little shortcut for those of you guys that like little shortcuts and not like to do all that work. I can find one exterior angle. I'm just going to extend this, okay, by subtracting from 180. Okay, 108 subtracting 180 gives you one exterior angle to be 72. Well, we know the formula is 360 divided by n for one exterior. Well, I just found out that that one exterior is 72 degrees. And just like that former problem, all you got to do is switch places. So you get 360 divided by 72 equals n, which we just found n equals 5. A lot shorter, a lot easier. A lot of work to do with the one interior, but you can still do it either way. All right? So last problem is, here's a little challenge question. It says the figure shown is a regular pentagon. Find the value of x. So come into class tomorrow with this answered.